It looks like the runners are getting started right now. A2Rhombus is off. Now HTDelta is off too, and they're about to get synced pretty soon. So this is going to be a race for Luigi's Mansion, the no out of bounds category, which is essentially the any percent category, except the runners will not be using an out of bounds glitch that skips the entirety of the game after beating Chauncey.
Chauncey being the first area boss of this game.
Right, so right now both runners just entered the parlor, first room in the mansion aside from the foyer, and they activate a little event by taking out the candles with the vacuum. So each of them are getting set up for each of the three waves of the parlor, which are one orange ghost each. And the ghost starting positions in every wave are completely predetermined, so the runners know exactly where to stand and where to face, because the ghost will only appear if you're facing away from them. And they've already cleared the first room. Now they're going to the anteroom. The anteroom has 4 waves. The one gold ghost, 1 purple puncher, then 2 gold ghosts, and then 1 gold ghost, 1 purple puncher. And a lot of runs die at this point setting up these doubles. And A2Rhombus misses the double. HTDelta gets the double, and he'll move on to the third room, the wardrobe room. In this room, he's going to... There are 2 separate waves here. The first wave being the gold ghost in the middle, and this one activated by opening the closet. So the second wave isn't based on the one on the left, so it's actually faster to not do 2 singles rather than double. And the green ghost or the garbage can ghost don't actually have a hitbox, so Luigi can push them without getting hurt. And both runners are about 3 or 4 seconds apart, and they'll be moving on to the next section of Area 1, which is introducing the Portrait Ghosts. Portrait Ghosts work slightly differently from regular ghosts. They reveal their heart in unique ways, and they have 100 health. So part of it is setting up for them to show their heart as quick as possible, and then trying to get the suck up as fast as possible. So this is the first Portrait Ghost, Neville, and obviously easiest. You just have to face away from him until he yawns, and then just start sucking him up. Except they set up their vacuum to immediately start sucking him up before he even gets a chance to yawn. Excuse me.
Yeah, so the reason they do that is so the very first frame available to actually suck up the Portrait Ghost's heart is available to them. And that's just the easiest way of doing it.
Moving on to Master Bedroom, the second Portrait Ghost is Lydia. What you do is just open the shade, and she'll complain about the draft because of the broken window, and then show her heart. HTDelta struggling a little bit with the movement, but still getting a pretty fast suck up. And moving on to the third Portrait Ghost, and Area 1's boss is Chauncey. There are 2 parts to this boss battle. First, the first ball shot in the room, and then being sent to the arena. Each of the area bosses in this game transports Luigi to this otherworldly arena, which, if you're reading the text, which it's in Japanese, says he's going to shrink you and put him into your crib. So how the Chauncey boss fight works, he's going to send 2 rocking horses at you, and then a wave of 5 balls. And the third ball is always the one that's solid, and you want to grab it with your vacuum and hit him with it, and that'll reveal Chauncey's heart. So HTDelta's setting up for the first ball catch, which he's positioning himself to be able to catch it immediately. And you'll notice that HTDelta let him go above 50 health, so you cannot suck up Chauncey in one attempt. It's impossible. The task has gotten it as low as 2 health because there's an automatic timer. So we try to suck up Chauncey in 2 attempts. And if you also bring his health below 50, it's actually slower because he'll do 3 rocking horse attacks. HTDelta takes damage here to have invincibility frame so he can set up this ball catch, which he doesn't quite get perfectly, but still does it pretty quickly. And he'll be finishing up Area 1.
And if you guys saw, Rhombus actually missed his first ball throw, but the order of the balls is still the same, so we can do the first setup again. He's just going to lose a lot of time for the rocking horses having to come back and forth. So unfortunately for him, he's gonna be a little behind here. But these runners are actually very close in time. They're only let me check real quick. Yeah, they're in with 2 seconds, 2 seconds within their PBs. So. This is very early into the run.
Yeah, anything can still happen so far. So both of them are going to be moving into a cutscene where Luigi turns all the Area 1 portrait ghosts into paintings. And then after that, both runners are going to move on to Area 2. And that's where the run actually begins. Area 1's kind of your warm-up, and there's a lot of resets there trying to do it perfectly, but Area 2 is where the run actually begins, and that's when RNG starts becoming a factor, especially when they unlock the boos and have to start catching them. All right, so in the menu, you'll notice that they pick the second option, which is the Hidden Mansion. You unlock the Hidden Mansion by beating the game once and reselecting the new file. And the Hidden Mansion, what that does is your vacuum is 1.5 times stronger, so it's faster than the normal mansion. If you're playing the US version, it also deals double damage. It doesn't actually deal double damage on the Japanese version, though. So you basically just get a stronger vacuum for free. And this room introduces grabber ghosts, which they'll grab onto Luigi and you have to shake them off. The white grabbers... Oh, yeah,
Sorry,
go ahead.
Okay. You'll notice, so he just sets up for a really easy double there, but you'll notice that both Rhombus and HTDelta walking through this hallway have their flashlights pointed at the ceiling and towards, like, angled in the middle of the hallway. So most people do that to avoid getting scared by ceiling ghosts or boulder ghosts, both of which have 0 HP, so they're an immediate suck-up, but they can scare you, and that costs about 2 seconds. And it's pretty easy to prevent, so you'll see them doing that a lot in dark hallways.
All right, moving on to the ballroom, we have the first part of the ballroom are the shy guys who are dancing around in pairs, and what you want to do is suck off the masks and then flash for a double. And you can see that HTDelta was struggling a little bit, but recovered pretty well. This is actually one of the hardest rooms for beginners to pick up because the doubles are a little bit awkward to learn. And then moving on to the second part is the fourth portrait ghost, the floating Rolindas. And they dance around until they reveal their heart, essentially. And what HTDelta got there was something we call early release, where they reveal their heart about 10 seconds faster than usual. And it's determined purely by luck. There's nothing you can control about. And you see that A2Rhombus did not get early release, so he's taking a 10-second deficit purely because of RNG. Now, what HTDelta is doing over there is called poster skip. This was discovered by Jared's Giants and Beeman 3000, I believe is his name. What you can do is that you can actually have your vacuum through the wall and can suck up the poster through the wall, so you can skip having to suck it up after extending the wall to the end of the room. See that A2Rhombus is struggling a little in this room. He's setting up for poster skip, and he gets it. I believe so. We have no audio on that side. And HTDelta pushed the big red button and released all the boos. So now there's going to be a little bit of text explaining about the boos and activating the boo radar. So I'm going to take this opportunity to explain boo catching, which is a very important tech to know if you want to speedrun Luigi's Mansion, called R pumping, and it makes catching the boos significantly less annoying. So in order to R pump, you have to hold L and R at the same time, and then every 10 health, you release the R trigger and immediately hit it again. And what this essentially does is stun locks the boo in place, which takes advantage of the fact that you're basically putting away your vacuum and immediately taking it out again. And you'll notice how much quicker it'll take out a boo and keep it in place. So it looks like HTDelta was trying to set up for a text skip, which saves quite a few seconds, especially with the first boo with a longer text box. But the boo was under the tablecloth, so he wasn't able to get it. So as you can see, the boo hides randomly in some furniture, so you can gain or lose a lot of time just because of where the boo is. Ooh, A2Rhombus had the boo radar going in the painting, and it wasn't even in there. So that was unfortunate. HTDelta went for a save warp there, which is interesting. Wasn't sure if he was in the normal mansion or not by accident. It's actually faster than mirror warp. So in order to progress from this point on, you have to catch 5 boos. From there, the washroom will be unlocked, which has the key to the fortune teller room. So the runners will catch the 3 ghosts in the first 3 rooms of the mansion, and then in the ballroom and storage room. There are also boos where the Area 1 portrait ghosts are, but we don't get them yet because we'll be going back to that area in Area 3. And as it turns out, you'll get exactly 5 boos doing this route. So now HTDelta will be going to the washroom and grab the key from the toilet, which if you talk to the Toad, he'll tell you that he dropped something very important to the toilet, but talking to Toad is slow, so we're not going to do that. We're just going to grab it and run. So moving on into the mirror room, which has a variation of the grabber ghosts called the mirror ghosts, which are completely invisible except for in the mirror. So, and there are 2 doubles in this room, so they're a little awkward to set up, but there's a couple pretty clean setups for them.
Yeah, because all of, like, the regular ghosts that you need to, like, clear to light up a room, they'll always spawn in the same location, so that's why this game is like very speedrunnable.
Yeah, could you imagine if they all spawn randomly?
Like, that would be that would be crazy, dude. I wonder if there was like people were talking about like some sort of like Luigi's Mansion randomizer. Like if that was ever a thing, I'm pretty sure that's how it would go.
That'd be so fun though.
It's just like a random like type and number of ghosts, but the game is the same. Like that'd be awesome.
All right, so
but, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
All right, so
go ahead.
HTDelta is gonna catch the boo, and then he's gonna grab the fire metal, which, as long as you grab the fire metal, the game registers that you have it, and then we're gonna, from there, you just save warp so you can skip the text from grabbing the fire metal, and then just save warp, grab the fire, and move on, which saves about 6 seconds.
Saves about 6 seconds, and if you don't get it, then like it can sometimes be difficult to set up, depending on like how skilled you are with getting boos. But we're gonna see if A2Rhombus can get it in a second. But sometimes the boo will just go like right over the fire emblem, and it'll just stay there. And the frames of like the frames that the fire emblem has before you're able to actually catch it onto your vacuum's like sort of radius, it'll go away, and then you might accidentally catch it and then lose the boo, and then that's just a huge time loss.
Okay, and HTDelta lit the candles on the butler. His name is Shivers, and he's going to be running to his room. And in the meantime, we're going to be doing the laundry room. This room isn't actually required to complete, but we do need 20 boos to advance in area to complete the Area 3 boss, and we can do this room while Shivers is running toward his room, so this is a good room to do it in. Ooh, and he misses the double, so he has to be careful here, because Shivers doesn't sit forever, and if he decides to disappear, that's a big time loss. Usually the end of a run. But he gets it just fine. HTDelta struggling with the mouse hole, which leads to the hidden room. The hidden room is another optional room to complete. However, it's actually faster to finish the room and catch the boo in there than catching one of the Area 4 boos that has a lot more health. So we do the hidden room. CHT is setting up for a quad, doing a safe quad setup. Those are ice elemental ghosts, which are essentially purple punches, except their hearts are covered in ice, which you need to melt with fire before you can actually flash them and catch them. And if you hit them with fire when they appear, it actually skips them. Ooh! That's a rough boo to miss. Wonder how he's going to respond to that one. Oh, he might be going back for it. We'll see. That's not a good boo to miss. Especially if it goes up. If it goes left, that's okay, but this might be a good chance for Rhombus to catch up. Okay, it looks like he's going back to get it. Rhombus struggling in the hidden room. So he's just going to go with the fire. Decent recovery. Now HTDelta's in the conservatory, where he activates all the instruments. The Portrait Ghost melody will appear and test your music knowledge with one of two songs, either the water theme from Super Mario Bros. Or the athletic theme from Super Mario Bros. 3. And then she asks you a question about it, and if you answer correctly, she'll start throwing music sheets at you. And once you get rid of them all, she'll reveal her heart. Movement was a little bit awkward, making the setup a little slow, but HTDelta handled it pretty well. That was a pretty good catch considering the pearls he was auto-locking on causing issues. A lot of the objects in this game, your vacuum auto-locks on, which can be kind of frustrating to deal with when catching boos because your vacuum does not lock on the boo. So this is the dining room with Mr. Lugs, which is a completely optional portrait ghost. So we just go ahead and walk right through it and not have to deal. Ooh. Hit by the fridge door, but Still clearing the room pretty well. And it's good we don't have to beat Mr. Lugs either, because he's actually a pretty long portrait ghost. Got one of the more interesting setups. To light all the candles, suck up all his food, and then wait for him to get tired from shooting fireballs at you. So that purple mushroom is a poison mushroom, which if it hits Luigi, he shrinks and can't do anything for about 15 seconds, I think. Someone might need to correct me on that, but you don't want to get hit by a poison mushroom in a run. That's a huge time loss. And getting poison mushrooms is pure RNG.
Yeah, generally unlucky, especially if there are a lot of rooms where you could kind of like evade around it, but in some cases the game will just totally destroy you in terms of the movement of it.
So we have HTDelta sucking up Spooky the dog. All you have to do there is dodge 2 of his hits and get hit by the third one intentionally, which spawns the skeleton early. And then you just suck him up and go into the graveyard. So it's going to be... Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say another reason why people, they throw the dog to the side is so they can get fast bones. So normally when the skeleton appears, it drops a bone. And you have to wait until the dog actually walks to the bone. So if the dog is already like at the spot where the bone is going to drop, then he'll show his heart a lot faster.
Okay. So in the graveyard, you have to hit that specific gravestone and 3 skeletons will appear. HT attempted a flashlight stun lock into a double by manipulating the one on the right, but he didn't get it. That double's a little awkward to get and takes a little bit of practice. At least I think it does. And then he'll move on to the Area 2 boss, Bogmire, which this one is... It is possible to one-cycle Bogmire, but it's a little difficult for newer runners to do. To do Bogmire, you just have to suck up one of his shadows and hit him with it, and then just start sucking him up. And we'll see if HT gets this one cycle. A2Rhombus gets the double with the stun lock. HT gets a pretty clean one cycle. That was pretty nice. Couple shaky spots, but kept control most of the time. And now A2Rhombus will be doing Bogmire now. Switch audio really quickly to him while he does Bogmire, and HT deals with cutscenes and text. And we'll see how Rhombus deals with Bogmire.
Rhombus also getting the one cycle here. Good for both of these runners.
Looked like he was struggling for a little bit, but just focused on keeping control of Bogmire, which is a good thing to do if you feel like he's going to break free. So that was good reaction on his part.
Yeah, sometimes it's just good to play it safe and be really just be slow with catching up Bogmire. He does have the most resistance in the vacuum of any other boss or portrait ghost.
So HTDelta will be moving on to Area 3, but while he is a decent amount ahead, he's still down a boo right now, and we're going to figure out how he's going to deal with that, because the hidden room boo is very out of the way. HT's in chat saying he might have to do pipe room boo, which might be one way of going about it, although it is pretty slow since that boo has 300 health. So now we're going into the bottom of the well where you can look through the lion head and see the whereabouts of Mario. Yeah, Breaker Boo is also an option. And then clear pipe room and just finish both boos if you don't get the one cycle, but we'll more. We'll see how it happens in Area 4. And sucking up that ghost will reveal the key to the rec room, which is needed to advance. Okay, so the Japanese version is faster because of text, and there's the mouse hole glitch to get into the hidden room and back into the butler room is Japanese only. That got patched in the US version and in the PAL version.
You'll see HT runs on this little treadmill in the weight room to get a key that actually unlocks that door to his left right before he shot that ball of water up into the roof. And what that does is there's a door right here that's actually on fire. And he actually got a first try, which is good. That saves some time. But an audio cue plays if you can actually extinguish the door from the floor below. And that way you don't have to spend time waiting for like the whole door to like cool down and smoke to stop coming out from it.
Yeah, so that does actually save you time by hitting it. Also, Biff Atlas, the portrait ghost in the rec room, is also optional, so we don't have to do it. We just have to grab the key from the treadmill and run. That key, not sure if you mentioned, unlocks the door from the first floor hallway to the stairs. That was to the left. And this boo can be a little annoying because he can be anywhere in this room, except for the board on the right. Ooh. Struggling with a tablecloth, which blocks you from catching the boo sometimes.
I jumped for a second. I was like, wait, get it.
Like, that was pretty good reaction. And now, moving on to the second floor hallway, the two back-to-back portrait ghosts. First, Miss Petunia in the bathroom, who's taking a hot bath, and you spray her with ice and freak her out. So Miss Petunia actually breaks free very easily, but also loses health very easily. But if you're not careful, she can break free like within a few seconds. So you got to be careful there. And then moving on to the next one is Nana, which is actually kind of annoying. So you have to hit her with the 3 yarn balls, and then she'll reveal her. However, if you shoot the yarn ball away from her and into a wall, she'll despawn. You have to re-enter the room, which loses a lot of time. And
Yes, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, he got really good RNG with this boo, being on the left. So, fun fact, the ice actually freezes the boo in place, and you can actually let go of the boo and it'll stay there for a few seconds.
Yeah, and you'll also see, I was actually just about to comment, ice is my favorite element because you can do that. You can bring a boo down to 30 health and then open a chest in a room if like finding the boo was really far away from the chest. So you can actually pick up the key and not like waste minimal time.
And Rhombus despawns Nana.
Yeah, Rhombus.
That's unfortunate.
At least it was the first one, though.
True. But it's still unfortunate when you do that. Second attempt was really good, though. And also, after Nana is one of the only parts in the game that's actually non-linear, where you can basically go back to Area 1, 2, or do this section. The fastest way is to go get Mario Star in these 2 rooms, then go down to Area 2, and then back to Area 1.
Rob is doing that little ice trick with the boo there, keep it in place while you open the chest.
That always looks cool. It's surprisingly not that hard to do. And now HTDelta is going to be going into the observatory. We'll be setting up for the moonshot. So what happens here is Luigi looks and sees the moon in the telescope, and something weird happens to the room where you go into this weird space place. I don't know how to explain it.
And Luigi's like a spaceman. Like, you can tell. Like, he's born for space. And this is like his dream.
So you have to use those meteors to shoot the moon, and that setup is actually a lot harder than it looks, but there is a pretty consistent setup for it.
Eyes moonshot.
But yeah, if you're playing the game for the first time, that vacuum is not where it actually points to.
And like the region for setting up to shoot it is like it's so precise. Like it doesn't look like it is because there's a lot of space to like aim and move around, but it's just incredibly difficult.
A2Rhombus misses the triple, but recovers pretty well. And HTDelta got the Mario's third item, the star. So what happens with Mario's dropped item is that the ghost in the fortune teller room will tell you a little bit of information about like the ghost in the mansion for each dropped item you give her, and then when you give her all 5, she'll say, "Oh, there's nothing I can do anymore," and she just lets you suck her up. But we need to grab all 5 of Mario's dropped items, and that's basically what you do in Area 3. So now we're going back to Area 2 and going to the projection room, where Mario's 4th dropped item will be. And the projection room is very similar to the mirror room in that they're grabber ghosts and that they're invisible. And the way you see them is with the shadows on the light, which is not very reliable. So it's kind of just based on where they start and setting up the right position.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I just saw in chat. So White Wolf was just asked a question I totally forgot about. So HT still he lost that boo back in Area 2, so he's gonna have to retrace at some point to get that. So the runners are actually a little bit more. They're a little closer than it looks like right now. Because like retracing for a boo, he might actually do it around here before he goes to fortune teller. Because I think was it sealed room or laundry room?
It was the hidden room, yeah.
Oh, room. My apologies. Yeah, so
same
that's
difference.
Yeah, I mean, there is a sealed room and a hidden room in this game, but that's really unfortunate because then he's going to have to go all the way back, basically into like the farthest part of the left side of Area 2 he can go, and he's going to have to get that. And meanwhile, Rhombus is going to be on his tail, heading to the projector room right now.
Yeah, he also might get an extra boo in Area 4, which luckily there are some options to deal with that.
Those boos, however, are a lot more difficult than the boo he actually missed. And if done improperly, could actually waste him more time than recover him.
So we'll see what he decides to do. So we're going back to Area 1. Area 1, go ahead.
Oh, no. Sorry, I accidentally just clicked my key. I was just going to say, yeah, I mean, I completely lost my train of thought. No worries.
All right, so HTDelta goes to Area 1, where we'll catch the boos that we left here since when we released them, and we'll go into the twins room. So what you do here is you have to do, I think, 3 full rotations with those ceiling cars, and then the twins will appear. And then they'll ask if you want to play a game with them, or I think it's specifically hide and seek. And then they'll tell you they've hidden, and you have to pick the 2 of the 5 boxes that they're in. And luckily you can cheat at this game by using your vacuum, and they'll shake if they're in there. So Delta actually had pretty good RNG, but he went the other way, so it was bad RNG for him. And they'll complain that you're a cheater and start attacking. Although they'll complain if you're a cheater even if you're not cheating, which I didn't even know you could cheat at this game until my 20th playthrough of this game. They actually tell you it through a book, which again, I didn't even know you could read books from the bookshelves. So twins are pretty simple from there. You just aim your vacuum at them till they fall off their vehicle, and you can start sucking them up. Yes, literacy is important. Ooh, loses the boo to the
I saw that boo cackling a lot. I was getting a little nervous.
That boo is always more frustrating than he seems to be. I lose that boo sometimes.
Yeah, there's a lot of pearls in that room. Another thing you have to think about is just the red twin. I forget his name, but was it like Orville or something?
I think it's Orville because I think the pun is Henry Ford and Orville, right?
Yeah. But like he flies all over the room dropping pearls, and your vacuum will auto lock onto those pearls. So if you have a boo in the room, especially if you like just open the chest to get Mario's boot, which is the last item we're actually going to get before we go to the fortune teller room, then you're going to lose that boo from all the auto locking happening around in the room if you're not careful.
All right, so go ahead. You're talking tech skip?
What?
Tech skip?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll explain that. So I don't know if it happened earlier, if the runners were available earlier to get it, but there is an instance where you can suck off a sheet after having a boo start like traveling into your vacuum after like it hits below 0 health, and the game recognizes that the last thing to go into your vacuum was a sheet and not a boo, so it'll immediately count the boo, and then getting the sheet will allow basically the game to recognize that you're just playing the game and you just sucked off a sheet. So it skips the text that EGAD normally prompts you with, and also to save the game.
Right, and now HTDelta has all 5 Mario's items, so he's going into the fortune teller room and talking to the fortune teller, and it's just a lot of text to go through. So he'll be busy matching for about 90 seconds. And now A2Rhombus will be catching up by catching these boos.
A lot of text mashing here from HT.
All right, I'm not sure if the anyone can hear audio right now, but neither of us have audio right now. We're just checking.
That's all right for this section, though. HT did actually a pretty nice job in clearing that room, finding the boo. The portrait ghost, Clairvoya, actually looks a little finicky when you're catching her. It's because she actually has no resistance in the vacuum. So you actually kind of have to jiggle the control stick and C-stick around, kind of like taking off bits of health, because you can't just pull back continuously because she has no resistance. Something HT is going to do here, now that he's finished text mashing with Clairvoya, he's going to grab ice, which was a smart move, as sometimes people forget that they have to get ice for this next room, which is the Safari room. There's a special type of ghost that we're going to encounter here, and you're going to need ice to actually be able to catch it, or else you're going to have to walk all the way back down to grab it.
Right, yeah, you don't want to forget ice. I did that once. That was not fun. So these are the water elementals, which are the variants of the blue ghosts.
Oh, HT gets smashed.
Fun fact, the water elementals actually appear before the regular blue ghosts do.
Yeah, interesting.
But yeah, they have this earthquake attack, and you don't want to get hit by that because it has a really big radius.
And HT also gets the possible double in this run. I hear some very choppy audio right now.
All right, looks like we have audio again. Good. All right. I don't know if you were paying attention, but did he get the?
Yeah.
Got the double.
Yeah, HT got the double, which was it's actually a pretty relatively difficult setup for getting a double, but very possible. It's just 2 bulky health regular ghosts that you have to get, and then setting it up. It's kind of a weird angle. They're not definitely like on a horizontal plane, so you kind of have to go at an angle, and your flashlight is very finicky sometimes with those really big ghosts.
All right, and HTDelta going on to the third area boss, which is Bulasis. One of the most difficult challenges in the game to do, but luckily there is a pretty clean setup for it, which gets it done really quickly. And all the boos actually count as boos, so it'll increment your boo count by 15. Ooh, seems to be an audio desync. Ice Ghost is being very finicky, which that's random, so that's unfortunate. Let's see how it goes.
Rhombus actually getting a nice save there in the Safari room. And HT having trouble getting this one cycle on his Bulasis, but Rhombus actually missed the double, but then recovered it and didn't get hit, and he got a ghost instead. HT with a general decent clear of Bulasis. Very difficult if you don't know what you're doing after if you don't get the one cycle.
All right, I'm gonna go switch audio to Rhombus while he does Bulasis, and HT does a lot of walking back up to the balcony, where the sealed door for Area 4 is. We'll see how Rhombus handles Bulasis. And Rhombus does sound glitch here, where the music just doesn't happen. Hearing this silent is always so eerie. All right. Good luck, Rhombus on Bulasis. A little rough on that. See if he can. Ooh, no, he'll. All right, he's still on the third phase of Bulasis, which means the boos will be aggressive on him. Once you reach the second phase, the boos will stop just letting you freeze them, so you can only freeze them when they attack, but they're really finicky. But on third phase, they're very aggressive, which makes it a lot faster to deal with. So you don't want second phase on when trying to speedrun, because then it's really slow. So HTDelta decided to get the hidden room boo. But he decided not to do tech skip, which he could have done. But I'll switch audio back to him, because he still has a pretty solid lead, even having to go out of the way. And now HTDelta will be walking his way all the way up to the third floor again, and activating the first event of Area 4, which is the blackout. So once you unseal the Area 4 door, there'll be a cutscene where lightning strikes the mansion and takes out all the power. And what happens is now ghosts will appear in all the rooms, and you have to figure out how to turn the lights back on. If you go into the telephone room, they'll tell you that there's a ghost called Uncle Grimly who likes to hide in the darkest room, so will probably appear during the blackout, and likes rooms with mirrors. Luckily, you don't actually have to do that segment. You can just skip it altogether, and Grimly will always be in the wardrobe room, so we know just to go straight to the wardrobe room. And there's actually a mirror on the south wall of the Safari room, which you can't see without going into first person, but that takes you straight to the foyer, which skips most of the blackout fun. And I'm not sure if HT switched to sidestep, but that makes trying to avoid spawning any ghosts during the blackout a lot easier.
Yeah, he'll have to be quick if he doesn't want to get scared here, because a ghost will spawn right, north in the center of the thing. Excuse me, the roof or the balcony, I should say.
He does avoid the spawn, which is good. And yeah, he is using sidestep. Right. So in Parlor, there's 5 gold ghosts, which you'll have to point his flashlight very specifically to keep them from spawning. And there's 5 more ghosts in the anteroom. Ooh, that was... Oh, he actually still got it.
Wow.
So, Grimly will decide whenever he feels like to show his heart. And if you get really lucky, you can get him instantly, or like while you're in the anteroom, he tries to scare you. Or he can
wait like 47 seconds or something.
I mean, earlier in our match, actually, I had a 25-second Grimly. That was
really?
fun. I was like, all right, you're gonna...
Yeah,
I think it was right now.
I think it was last tournament. It was actually between Rhombus and GC. GC had an awfully long.
Yeah, I think the longest one was 50 seconds or something like that, which is just crazy thinking about it.
And Rhombus is going to make his way up right now, and HT can actually turn on the power, so now he can progress through the game regularly now.
All right, so there's a boo in here, Breaker Boo, which has 200 health, but catching him is really annoying because he can only go left, which takes a long time to go through, and using R pumping, whenever you R pump and the boo gets stunned, the boo will cackle, and the boo only gets 15 cackles before it can no longer be stunned and will immediately run away. So you can do a setup where you can catch Breaker Boo in one cycle, but involves specific movement and setting up, so it's really only done by high-level runners, and luckily you don't need to catch it. It is faster to do so, though, but it's very difficult.
HT having that toxic mushroom on his side.
Yeah, he's gonna
take his time.
Yeah,
oh my god.
Yeah, he's gonna choose to avoid it because it's being very annoying, so he's just gonna wait it out. Probably the best way of going about it.
That was exactly what I was talking about with the poison toxic mushroom RNG. It's just it bouncing around. It's just so inconvenient sometimes, so you end up losing time just from it being in the room.
And yeah, it does stink when you're on a good run, you get hit by a poison mushroom, and it annoys you.
It makes you, excuse me, for those of you who do not know what the poison mushroom does, I don't know how much time until you grow back, but basically it makes you mini Luigi for an amount of time, and you actually can't catch ghosts or open doors or knock on objects.
I think it's about 15 seconds, but yeah, you can't do anything while small, so it's nothing but a pure time loss. And they also cause you to drop coins. And since you can't... Oh, and Rhombus gets a poison mushroom in here, too. Yeah, this room likes to spawn a lot of poison mushrooms.
There are just a lot of objects to hit for coins or, toxic mushrooms or hearts.
And when you clear the cellar, you get the key for the clockwork room, which is all the way up to the 3rd floor again. So there's another big segment of just walking. So the clockwork room is another multi-portrait ghost. There's 3 of them. And what you have to do is aim your vacuum on their... whatever the winding things are called. I'm drawing a blank here. And
the clockwork soldiers?
Yeah, whatever the thing that winds them up is called, but you just have to aim your vacuum on them until it falls off.
The cuckoo clock? Oh no, I know what you mean. Yeah, the little handle.
And when it falls off, you can suck them up. You can set up a double, but trying to catch 2 portrait ghosts is pretty difficult, and they're a little bit resistant, so you got to be careful.
Especially these guys. I mean, it's the one instance of the game where these 3 100 health portrait ghosts actually only count as 1 portrait. So they just have a lot of crazy movement resistance that would make two cycling them difficult.
Rhombus getting the Bowling Ghost, which is pure RNG and nothing you can do about it. And going onto the roof. HT will do the safer method of just burning the Shy Guys. And then there'll be 2 Ice Elemental Ghosts that'll appear. And then the key will appear on the left chimney. The right chimney is actually a secret passageway to the sealed room, which is another hidden treasure room, but that's not required for no out of bounds, only for 100%. And it's very out of the way. Okay. That's the key to the armory, which is pretty close by, so luckily we don't have to do any crazy walking. Rhombus heading up to the roof.
This little segment that HT is about to do will be the last we see of this section of Area 3, this little hallway.
And the armory is one of the more annoying rooms because it is extremely laggy, like really laggy, one of the worst rooms for it. And it messes with your muscle memory on the boo, especially because it has 150 health. So you have to be very precise with your R pumping, because if your position isn't right, the boo will double cackle, which means it's tougher to one cycle it. And especially with 150 health, you have to be, you really can't have it double cackle on you. HTDelta with a very clean armory, it looks like. Yep. We'll see where the boo is, because RNG can also be a pain in this room. Alright,
Let's see how we head
on the boo. Let's see how this goes. So manipulating the boo to attack him was a little bit iffy, but he got him in a good position, luckily.
I mean, to be fair, it did attack him, but that was not what you want.
And he gets the 1 cycle, which is great. So what he's going to do here is save and soft reset the console. It's bringing him back to the foyer, which is fast, because you don't want to walk all the way down to the basement. You can also mirror warp, because there's a mirror in this room, but save warping is actually faster. But you don't want to do that if you are missing a boo with some health left.
Rhombus just got punched in the armory while trying to set up that triple.
Those purple punchers, man, they're punch.
Yeah, I
they can hit you from across the other corner of the room.
They just glide, man. I mean, these guys are freestylers.
They're the worst ghosts in the game. They're my least favorite.
Sorry, go ahead.
I always get punched by one at least once. They've got a vendetta against me. All right, in the pipe room, it's not actually a required room. To unlock the chest, you just have to shut the valve and grab the key. So you don't have to clear the room at all, but you do have 3 grabbers coming after you, which makes it a little bit annoying.
And despite losing that triple in armory, Rhombus also gets the 1 cycle on the boo, so he's going to do the same soft reset that Miles was mentioning earlier, and get very close to where Delta is. There's still 2 more boos that these runners need to collect. The next one not being too, although armory was difficult, this next one is not nearly as friendly.
Yeah, especially because of standing on the ice, and there is ice physics in this room, which is very annoying, which also makes this ghost very tough to 1 cycle. Sir Weston, ooh, he gets whacked by the icicles, which are not fun, especially if you're playing the US version, because if you're playing the US version, the icicles do 40 damage. So if you're already struggling with your health, you're in trouble here. So you have to be very careful not to die.
Like, yeah, you might think you'd be safe in that room, but in reality, you're not. You get hit by one of those things at like 40 health or 45 health, and then you just take a little bit of damage from Weston or something like that. Like, it's a run ender. It's another reason why Japanese is much more desired over the English version.
Are we struggling a little with the pearls being annoying?
Yeah, and I heard a double tackle too.
And there's the bonk. Ooh, he goes into the pipe room.
So close.
Really close, though. Yeah. So going up is not really ideal.
Delta has to hope it doesn't go into the hallway here. Okay, good.
All right, that's good. So you... I was just making sure that he went down. So in dark rooms, Boo's health actually goes down a lot slower. Like every cackle, it's only 1 health. And if they're at 1 health, they cannot take damage anymore in a dark room. So you have to get them into a lit room. If you're a beginner at the scene, you may also want to just clear pipe rooms when dealing with that Boo. And so now he has the key to go to the second to last portrait ghost, the artist, Vincent Van Gogh. And Van Gogh has a fun little test for you. Van Gogh is actually the one responsible for all the non-portrait ghosts. What he actually does is paints the ghosts and spawns them. Rhombus, having the Boo leave with 7 health, also really close, but having a more desirable escape point. And catching the Boo, and he'll move on to the next section. Still, I mean, the gap is a little bit wide, but he's keeping up pretty well. I mean, if Delta has like a really bad Vanguard Boo, Rhombus could catch up, or a rough King Boo. We'll have to see, but
yeah, King Boo especially. I mean, there are several things with King Boo that could cost a lot of time. I mean, even in comparison to this final portrait ghost we're going to collect.
Yeah, I'll try to avoid commentator's curse.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right, so right now each of the paintings are going to spawn 3 ghosts, and we're just going to go one by one.
You'll also notice that both runners picked up fire, and that's for the last little painting of ceiling ghosts that they have to get. It's just really easy to burn them. You'll see that probably.
It's also for another trick called L canceling, where I believe that's what it's called, where there's an animation whenever you go from a lit to a dark room, you can press L in a certain way to keep Luigi from doing the animation of taking out his flashlight, which takes about a second.
It's somewhere between like doing it 7 frames after like Luigi stops his animation of closing the door behind him.
HTDelta getting that red grabber triple, which is very difficult to set up properly. That was very clean. And now we have the garbage can ghost, which is another triple that's really tough. Let's see how he does on this.
I think I was trying to think about it in my mind. I think L canceling is like a Super Smash Brothers thing.
Yeah, maybe.
But it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You use the L trigger. It's fine.
And getting the tripping on the banana in the middle of the cutscene, which was convenient. But pretty good, pretty decent Van Gogh from Delta.
Rhombus is hot on his trail, getting that red grabber ghost triple as well.
Yeah, Rhombus is
catching
up pretty well
right now. Yeah, this could be close.
This could come down to King Boo if one of them misses a 2 cycle, I think.
Or messes up this Boo.
Yeah, true. So this Boo has 300 health, so you can 2 cycle it, but it is pretty tough, and this Boo is really fast.
Okay. Say Rhombus almost missed one of the ceiling ghosts.
Alright, so Delta brings Boo to 138 health, which is really good. So he might have a good 2 cycle here. Almost missed the Boo, but recovered pretty well. And he gets the 2 cycle.
And the HT's going to do a soft reset here as well.
So now he has the final key, which is the key to the secret altar where King Boo is, and he'll be setting up for the game's final boss.
Rhombus is going for a safer setup here. You might have seen HT didn't let the Boo actually go through the wall to make him do his animation sequence again in the hallway. He just made him go back into the actual artist studio.
Ooh,
yeah, Rhombus misses that 2 cycle, yeah. But Rhombus actually let it go back in the room so it would spawn in the middle of the room as opposed to near the wall where it could just immediately go back out.
All right, dodging those bomb ghosts or Dora the Exploders.
Those are. Is that seriously what they're called?
I think I've heard him called that a few times.
My goodness.
It's a pretty funny name. I usually just call them bombs. Yeah, they can be a little annoying to dodge.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean they do explore that little that little hallway right there. They're really annoying. It's hard with the peripherals of the camera in this game to actually dodge them. I run into a bunch of them.
All right, more tech setting up for King Boo, and HT will head into the final arena on the roof. So how this works, King Boo goes into a Bowser costume, which, yeah, I believe that's just a Bowser outfit, not actually Bowser. Someone make sure that's actually right. But what you do is, if you get far enough away, Bowser will send out spike balls, which you can hit his head with, and then that'll send out King Boo, and you'll start sucking King Boo up, which has 500 health. But it is possible to two-cycle. There's right at the start, there's a pretty simple setup to having the spike ball get thrown right in front of the pillar so you can grab it really easily. And then just make sure your position set up so Bowser never moves. But yeah, if you have the right positioning, the setup's pretty simple. And we'll see how HT's first cycle goes, because that's going to determine what he's going to do afterwards, whether he sets up for a second, try to do a two-cycle or a fast three-cycle.
Looking very clean so far. Yeah,
245, yeah.
That's pretty good health. I mean, he can do it.
So it's probably going to go for a two-cycle. So if you didn't go over 260 or so, 250, 260, you can, on the second cycle, you can leave the Boo with over 200 health to prevent Bowser from going into a rampage, which he'll put his head upside down and start running around randomly, and that's really slow. We don't want to do that.
Well, HT gets the two-cycle.
And that's the run. 101.51. Pretty good time. And Rhombus
considering how close this race was with both of their times, that was it's still very close. I mean, Rhombus gets 241. That's really low.
Rhombus will probably also go for a two-cycle. Yeah, you have to be... Oh, that was a little rough. We'll see if you can still get it. Oh, and he bonked. So, okay, so what's going to happen here is Bowser's head will go on upside down, and he'll start running around all over the place, which wastes a few seconds and also makes getting a spike ball a little bit tricky. If you do a fast three-cycle where he doesn't go into a rampage, you can set up with the spike ball a lot easier. Oh, he doesn't get the
Rhombus getting pounded
hit either because the other spike ball is in the way. And yeah, you don't want to get sucked up by Bowser because you'll get attacked twice. First by the suck up and by the fire. And that does 25 damage total. Or 50 if you're playing US. Alright, he gets the head off this time. But King Boo's going out of bounds, which might be tricky. Oh no, he's got him. And Rhombus finishes with a 103.23.
GG's to both runners.
Congratulations to both runners.
So looking at the bracket here, the next match in losers round 3 will be HTDelta versus Mini 352. Should be an interesting race. And unfortunately, Rhombus is knocked out of the tournament.
Okay, and if both runners would like to come on for a quick interview, feel free. All right, we have Delta.
Tony.
Hi there.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Not bad. How you feel about the run?
Tony. Good game. Good game.
I was pretty happy with it. I feel like could have went a little bit better for booze. Some of the booze aside from Area 4. I guess actually Weston wasn't that good, but aside from the booze, I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, what was going through your mind when you lost that hidden room boo?
I had like 3 options going through my head. I was like, I could go back and get this, and then at the time I was like, this is like the longest option. I should not do this. But I ended up thinking about it, and I was like, I think this is the fastest way to do it, though. And my other 2 things was like, do I go for like a breaker and then hope it goes back in a breaker room, or do I go for like pipe room boo or something like that? But
yeah, I mean, you could have done breaker and cleared the pipe room and gotten both breaker and pipe room, but
that was the
another
other option I was thinking as well. Yeah.
And then just skip Van Gore boo. I mean, either one worked. It's still hidden room boo also still has 50 health, which makes it pretty quick to do.
For sure, yeah.
And hey, it's Rhombus. Good game, Rhombus.
GG, I guess.
I mean, how you feel about your run?
The best Chauncey player won.
I mean, to be fair, I missed both my second ball shots on both my matches, so don't feel too bad about it.
Hey, I missed my second ball catch last round, and it tilted me for the entire run and got me a 106. So at least that didn't happen.
I know the feeling. I was... I had the same thing happen.
Yeah, despite everything, I mean, despite King Boo, it was a relatively close race. It was kind of difficult to tell where everybody was because HT still needed to get that hidden room Boo, and we didn't know exactly how much time that would have in comparison to. But you guys were both doing pretty good.
I mean, you were catching up pretty well, like come late game.
Yeah, like around the start of Area 3, I was like, all right, if I have any chance of winning this, I need to just play perfect. So I just buckled down and was like, all right, let's not mess anything up.
I mean, you were playing pretty well. I mean, a couple unfortunate moments like the losses, but
the losses I just got screwed over. There's nothing I could have done there.
Yeah, that's how it happens.
Yeah, that's the like in the 2 years I've been playing, that's the first time I've ever had that boo leave. I didn't even know it could go like I had no idea that I could even go up like that. I thought maybe it could only go left. But,
oh yeah, I would be like scared. Like if I was in like a really nice paced run and I lost that boo, I wouldn't even know where it was going. If it went into like the dining room, I wouldn't know what to do.
Also, I should probably let people know this because you guys were probably confused and so was chat. But for the first 5 boos, after the boo release, I actually selected normal mansion. In case you guys didn't notice.
Really?
So that's what I thought
I've never done
happened.
before.
I noticed you saved warp. It was there. It's like, did he click normal mansion?
Yeah. That's another thing I've never done before. And on the spot, I was like, what do I do in this situation? And then I just thought, I could probably just save after the 3rd boo.
Yeah, I'd say that was a pretty good reaction. That probably only cost you a few seconds.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
That's a good place to mess that up. I mean, as far as it's not really good to pick the normal mansion, but of all the places to pick it, that's a good place to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, another good place would be right before King Boo, because then that doesn't affect you at all.
Anyway, I gotta hop out because I've got a tight schedule. But thank you so much for the race.
HTDelta, by the way, man.
I'm sure the commentary was fantastic.
Thank you, runners.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You know anything for you, Rhombus.
Thanks, man. All right.
Have a nice night, man. GG's.
All right. Good games, all the runners. Gonna finish this up. Hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day or evening, whatever time it is where you are.
And best of luck to Tony in his losers round 3 match against Mini. Should be an interesting race. So stay tuned for that if you like the gameplay, and we'll see you guys soon.